Yield the remainder of our time in this segment.
Having yielded the remainder of the time in this segment, Representative Gottlieb, you're recognized in debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield the floor to Representative Cassell.
Representative Cassell, you're recognized in debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A year ago tomorrow, I came to Tallahassee and testified as a regular citizen in opposition to the 15-week abortion ban. And like many of the people who came this year, I was limited to 30 seconds. But I took advantage of that 30 seconds to remind the committee and everybody that day that everyone loves someone who's had an abortion. And as Representative Cross said, those words still ring true. And I want to repeat it for you because every single person in this room loves someone who has had an abortion. And today, I'm sure like me, images of those women have entered your mind. And I'm sure, like me, you don't see them with a scarlet letter, but you see them as people, as human beings. And if you haven't had thoughts about them today, I want you to think about them as you prepare to vote. And as you think of them, ask yourself, how do I see these women? Do I see them with judgment? Do I see them with love, with compassion, with empathy, with forgiveness? Do I see them through the eyes of my God? Do you see them through the eyes of your God? Let's be intellectually honest here for a moment. This bill is based on a single Christian religion belief that life begins at conception. That is why this bill makes it nearly impossible, with all of the roadblocks and the obstacles that have been put in place by this bill, for a woman to actually access an abortion. We aren't here because of words that the founding fathers scratched out. We are here in this country because many of our ancestors fled from religious persecution. Despite it being the First Amendment, and what I believe it to be the most sacred, it seems to be the amendment that we're not willing to fight the hardest for in this body. I want to say, I support your religious freedom to believe life begins at conception. And I admire those of you that have such deep-seated beliefs. But do you honor mine? Do you honor my faith? Do you honor my faith that puts the life and mental health and well-being of the mother first? If you don't, then you don't believe the First Amendment that this country was founded on, that people fled for the right to have. We've heard a lot of stories today. And what I think the thread of all of these stories that we hear, Representative Tremont, thank you for sharing your story. Your story of Jacob is important, but your story of Jacob is no more important or less important than Representative Bartleman's. It is no more important or less important that the woman who chooses a different path chose. And the thread that holds us all together on this issue is choice. Your choice to make an admirable and loving and compassionate decision to give Jacob a loving family. And it's also the thread that holds those women who don't make that choice. And we, as legislators, are here to legislate for the people. When you vote today, if you are voting because of a religious conviction, then I suggest to you, you're in the wrong job. Because the First Amendment says this body will be a body of separation of church and state. And the First Amendment says that we are here to separate those two. So if your vote today is yes, because you are thinking of your God and you are thinking of your religion, then I suggest you go work in the clergy, because this building is for the people. And to the women of this body, I'm talking directly to you. This is the first time in history we have this many women in this building. Let that sink in. With all these men that surround us, a system that has been created on patriarchy, there are more women in this body today than ever before to make this historic decision. Society has pitted us against one another for centuries. We've been pitted against one another in movies. We're not allowed to be friends. We're not allowed to support one another. I'm asking you to put your religion beside. I'm asking you to stand with the women of the state. I'm asking you to support their choice, their decision. It's not yours.
Representative